1 John chapter 2. 1 John chapter 2 verse 6 is a simple summary of what it is to be a Christian. He that says he abides in him ought also to walk even as he walked. So we're to live as Jesus lived. We are to see the world through his eyes, to love as he loved, to think as he thought. What would Jesus do? What would Jesus think? What would Jesus say in this or that situation? That is the question which must repeatedly be asked by us as we think about our lives. So it is by this principle, what would Jesus do? What would he say? It's by this principle that we make all our choices. Would Jesus speak like that? Would he read that novel? Would he watch that movie? How would he respond to that needy person? But John has just written earlier that we have to recognize that we are all sinners. If any man say he does not sin, then he is a liar, and the Lord's word is not in him. We just read that at the end of chapter 1. We are imperfect. So he says here that we ought to walk as Jesus walked. We should be like that. We won't achieve, though, the total perfection of Jesus in reality. But he and his character and his thinking and his being, that is to be our aim. Elsewhere, we're told that we are running a race, and we are to look to the end point of that race, which is Jesus. So we run looking at Jesus personally as our end point, because to be a Christian is to want above all things to be like Jesus and to finally be made like him fully. This is why we should regularly read and reread the gospel records, because there you have the description of who Jesus really was. And then later in the New Testament, you read of the work and the actions of Jesus in the church and in the world. And in those things, you also see how he is as a person. And he as a person, then, is our end point. That is who we aspire and what we aspire to be. So to be a Christian is to be confident that when Jesus returns, he will accept us. That is the good news, the gospel, that we will be made like him. We shall be like him. The good news of the kingdom, then, is not simply information or facts about the kingdom of God and salvation. It is the good news that little me, I really personally will be saved. And so John tells us in 1 John 2 here, verse 28, now, little children, abide in him, so that when he shall be manifested, we may have boldness and not be ashamed before him at his coming. So abiding in Jesus means recognizing our status in him. We are not in this world. We abide in Jesus in that we allow his Spirit to abide in us, and we are in him.